Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live somebody. Let's go.
Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well. Really, I do hope this show finds you in good spirits. We got quite a wild story, heartbreaking story to tell you guys and bring more awareness to. This is a story that caught my eye about a week ago, and honestly, I just want to do everything I can to get the word out there, bring more awareness about this as well. As you can see, guys, lately, I've been having a lot of really great guests on the show to talk about their loved ones that have gone missing as of recently. And this one really, really spoke to me because something just isn't mathing right, in my personal opinion. I got a lot of questions about this, guys. I got a lot of questions. Okay. And so hopefully we will have an answer here very, very soon. Okay. But I do have somebody very, very special on that's going to be joining us in just a minute. Okay. But before we jump into everything, before we start rocking and rolling, all right, I need you guys to do me these small, very simple favors. Some housekeeping real quick before we get things rolling. Do me a favor, hit that like button down below. Send it all the way up as you can. Send it past 300 likes as you guys start to file in. I see you guys coming in. Don't get too late to the party because we got some very important information to give you guys, especially those of y'all who are on the West Coast of America right now, okay? Especially in New Mexico, Arizona area, okay? Really need you guys to pick up your ears and listen to this show today, okay? And of course, if you haven't done it yet, I don't know what to tell y'all, but hit that subscribe button, baby. Hit it, crush it, make it do the same thing. Hit it so hard, it shakes the very foundation of your private domicile, okay? That'd be greatly appreciated. All right, now we got to get into this. We have definitely got to get into this, but I hope you guys are all doing well. The show finds you well, in good spirits. Hopefully you had a great weekend and all that, but I need your help. We need to get into this. We need to have a conversation really quick. Now, we need to talk about this situation, about this 33-year-old woman, mother of two. Her name is Nikki Alcaraz, or Nikki Cunningham, okay? I've been calling her Nikki Alcaraz. I think a lot of people have been calling her Nikki Alcaraz, okay? Again, like I said, she is 33 years old. She was on a trip, doing a cross-country trip, okay, going to Southern California with her boyfriend, and his name is Steven Tyler Stratton. Now, catch up with me because it's really tough. There's a lot of different names and all that. He goes by Tyler. So from this point on, you're going to be hearing me say Tyler, okay? But this is Steven Tyler Stratton, okay? They were on a cross-country trip in this vehicle right here. A Jeep had a bumper sticker that says "Mama tried." They were on this cross-country trip around the top of May. Now, this young woman was last seen May 6th after she had a very terrible altercation with her boyfriend, Tyler. Okay. Now, I just want to warn you guys, these images that I'm about to show you right here are graphic, but they are important to the story. So this photo right here are photos of the actual bruises that she obtained from this altercation that she had with Tyler. Now, I'm going to take this down now, but we are going to be bringing that back up again here soon. Tyler and, of course, Nikki were in this altercation. A witness saw this, and the thing that is still kind of blurry is if this was at a truck stop or if this was on the side of the road where this altercation took place. But nonetheless, thank God, a witness did see the altercation, called the police, and of course, the cops showed up, split up the two from each other. Now, Nikki's car, okay, the Jeep that you just see right here, was impounded. Okay. So Nikki contacted a friend of hers. He came in, got her to get the car out from the impound, okay, from being impounded. She took the car. Now, what's very interesting about this series of events is that 5-0, okay, police took them into the precinct. They didn't catch any charges. None of them were arrested or anything like that. They didn't want to press charges on each other or anything. So what happened is she got dropped off at a, from my understanding, a Super 8 motel. And he was dropped off 10 miles down the road. So after the friend went and picked her up to go get the car out from the impound, she said, I can't go anywhere without Tyler. I can't leave Tyler behind. This is when she gets into her car and she drives off. And that is the last that anyone has ever seen from her. But there were text messages that were exchanged between her and a friend, basically saying something along the lines of, I am driving through Arizona, and I'm heading towards California, that they were still going to finish this trip, cross-country trip. But that is the last that anyone has seen or heard of Nikki Alcaraz, Nikki Cunningham. Now, I just gave you very, 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 very vague bullets, okay, to this whole devastating story. But I do have somebody very, very special that's about to join us right about now. Please welcome the family friend of the Alcaraz family. We have Patsy Smiley on the show. Hello, Patsy. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for putting our information out there. We feel like the media is going to help us find Nikki.
I hope so too. You know, I really do hope that the media really picks this story up and really just carries it to finding more clarity, finding her in one, you know, of course, unharmed, finding
Safe.
her okay,
Yes.
and all safe and sound. That's what we're hoping for, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, real quick, so that everybody understands, and of course, if you can pull the camera down towards you a little bit, towards you, yeah,
Toward me?
yeah, it's leaning a little bit.
You're not looking
Perfect.
at my face.
It's a great painting behind you, but you know we want to see your beautiful face. So, can you explain to everybody first, before we jump into everything? Can you let everybody know exactly who you are and what your relation is to Nikki or to the Alcaraz family?
Yes. 40 plus years ago, I met the Alcaraz family, and after a few years, my husband and I retired to the Tennessee area. We all lived in California. Steve and I retired. My husband retired to Tennessee, and the Alcaraz Spar family decided to join us. So 4 generations of the Alcaraz Spar family joined us. So there was the matriarch in her around 90 when she moved here. Then there are Nikki's grandparents, Nikki's parents, and Nikki and her siblings. I think Nikki was about 3 when they moved here. So we have a 40-year relationship of a deep, close friendship with not just Nikki's grandparents, who were initially our friends, but with the entire family. We've been there when the children were born. We've been there when the grandchildren were born, and so forth. So we're very, very close to the family. The family just is so distraught. They just don't feel like they can face the media, so they have asked me to do it.
No, and I totally understand that. And of course, I can only imagine what the family's going through right now. I mean, there's so many, I'm sure, false leads. A lot of people calling in to the hotline, saying different things, saying that they saw something. Maybe their hopes are getting, hopes are up and then they get crushed quickly. Yeah, yeah. So I can only imagine the amount of stress that the immediate family is going through right now. So I appreciate you being kind of like a media liaison for this story.
I appreciate you putting our story out there. We just want to find Nikki.
Of course. So can you tell me a little bit about Nikki. Who is Nikki? What, could you tell us a little bit about her?
Nikki is so special. She's an extremely beautiful young woman. You can tell by the picture she's outgoing. She's never meets a stranger. She has 2 small children. She's just a wonderful person. And now she's missing because she was on a trip to visit her uncle in California. And the leads have just stopped. We have no idea from the 8th. That's the last time we heard from Nikki.
Mm-hmm.
We have no idea where she is, who she's with, anything about it.
So the only thing that you do know right now is that she got into a car with her boyfriend, father of one of her children,
Mm-hmm.
jumped into this car and just drove cross country.
Right. They were driving to Southern California to visit her uncle. And Nikki's made this trip over and over. She and her uncle are very close. And she was going to visit the uncle. And I don't know how long she was going to stay. She just was going to visit him. And then she'd be back to Tennessee where she lives.
Mm-hmm.
But then nothing.
Nothing at all, right?
Nothing.
And of course, we're going to get to that particular piece before we, we're going to get to that part, because it's everything that revolves around the 6th, 7th, and 8th that I feel spark a lot of questions. It seems like there's a lot of holes that I'm hoping that you'll be able to fill those holes in with more details. But so she went down to go see Uncle Steve. Right. She went to go see Uncle Steve in Southern California. This is a trip that she does a million times, or has done a million times. So her getting lost possibly would be out of the ordinary.
No. And Nikki is very independent. She's very capable. Nikki wouldn't get lost.
I see.
She knew where she was going.
Right. She, because of how many times she's done it, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So can we talk about the relationship that she had with, or she has with, Tyler Stratton? Can we get into details about that? Is that a relationship that was always toxic, or what? Is there anything that you can tell us about that relationship?
I don't know that it was always toxic. I do know they had a child. The child is almost 12 years old now. And they were not, in my memory, they weren't together a long time. And Nikki and the child came back to Nikki's parents' home. Then as time went on, Nikki moved on. Tyler moved on, I suppose. And Nikki remarried. She had another child. She has a 3-year-old boy.
Mm-hmm.
And then that relationship dissolved. They got a divorce, and Nikki went back somewhere or other with Tyler. A few months ago, maybe 2 months ago, Nikki was living in a suburb of Nashville at the opposite. They were east, we're west of Nashville. Mm-hmm. She was living with Tyler in a suburb, Antioch, east of Nashville. And her mother had to go get her because Tyler had once again assaulted her, beat her up pretty badly. And she brought her home, nursed her back to health,
mm-hmm.
but she went back to Tyler.
Wow. Okay. So that we do know, this type of language was already in the relationship.
Yes.
So that this type of treatment of him putting his hands on her was already implemented in the relationship to begin with.
Right. It's documented that he has been abusive in the past.
Oh man, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry to hear that. And it is also interesting because, of course, her daughter is 12, so yes. There was that relationship. Then she was married. Then, of course, she went through the divorce, but then went back to this man. Mm-hmm. Still, okay. Well, Was there any, before we go into everything that happened before she went missing on the 6th,
Uh-huh.
did you, was there any, during this particular trip, was there any issues beforehand, before this actual fight that happened that we're going to, of course, get into here shortly?
Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I saw Nikki and Tyler together not long, maybe in February.
Mm-hmm.
And Tyler, they were fine, seemingly. Then I saw her again in early March, the two of them together,
Mm-hmm.
and everything seemed fine. Of course, he was around other people. He's not going to hurt her around other people, but everything seemed fine. And then they started on this trip and kind of all fell apart.
Right. And actually, you know what, let's just going back for a second. Was there any history of him doing, you said just a second ago, he wouldn't do this in public, but he clearly did that on a side of the road or at a truck stop. So does he have a history of putting his hands on her out in public?
I don't know.
Okay. So that's something you don't know.
Honestly, I don't know.
Okay. And still terrible situation. So there was no indications of anything being any type of issues going on before the truck stop incident during their trip.
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay. So let's go into the truck stop incident, because that's one thing I feel like is a little bit hazy. Everything from where the fight actually took place all the way to the precinct situation, because the news is saying out here that, well, I've only heard from one news source that they took him, or they took both of them to the precinct. I've been hearing other stories where there was a fight, but that fight could have been on the side of the road, or it could have been at a truck stop. Where did it actually go down? Do you know?
From the incident report by the Moriarty Police Department, it happened on the side of the road, on the side of I-40. Someone was driving by. I don't know if it was a truck driver or if it was a couple, a man and a woman. They saw Tyler hit Nikki, beating her on the head. So they stopped. He intervened. They called the police department. The police came out. They did not take either one of them to the precinct. It's my understanding from reading the incident report from the police department. They just, neither one of them would admit that they were driving the vehicle. Mm-hmm. So they impounded the vehicle. They took Nikki to I think it was a Flying J or a pilot. I really don't know. Mm. I've heard both, but they took her to a truck stop and left her. And then they took Tyler 2 exits down the interstate, about 10 miles, to Edgewood, New Mexico, and dropped him off. So now they're split up. They have no vehicle. I understand that Tyler, according to Nikki's sister, Tyler had stomped Nikki's phone, so she had no phone to use on a regular basis. But she did get a phone some way to contact her friend in California.
Wait, I'm sorry. Explain that Tyler had what does that mean exactly? What do you mean by he stalked her phone and then
stepped on it?
Oh, stomped on her phone.
Stomped on her phone
during this fight.
Deactivate it. Yeah.
Oh, so he broke her phone.
Right.
And then during this fight, but then she was able to go and buy another phone or get something.
Some way or other, she got another phone and called her friend. But Nikki we saw pictures of her. She had a black eye, terrible bruised eyes, big bruises all down her body, down her arms. She was having problems with a headache and feeling disoriented. I don't know what the diagnosis was. I was told one thing and then I was told something else. So since I don't know, I'm not going to say.
Right.
Except the bruises and the black eye and so forth.
Yeah, because it's so. Oh man, I mean it looks like he He really did a number on her.
He did a number.
With all due respect. So this is absolutely crazy what happened, and the fact that we'll get to this here. The response of the police in that area, the local police, is actually weird and strange to me as well, because
I don't understand it.
Because instead of them actually, I don't know, locking one of them up maybe, or doing something of that sort.
Both of them?
Pardon? Say that again.
Or both of them?
Or both of them, exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of doing that, now, some news sources, one news source actually, is saying that they brought them to the precinct. They impounded the car and they brought them to the precinct. You're saying different.
If they brought him to the precinct, I don't know it. I've read the incident report from Moriarty Police Department. I've talked to the chief of police there more than once, and we're emailing back and forth. I've talked to Officer Carter there more than once. We're emailing back and forth. In the incident report, nothing was said about them being taken to the precinct.
Very, very interesting. So, because of course, the reports are saying one report, I guess, is saying that she went to a precinct, but you're saying she was instantly picked up, car was impounded, and they both went separate ways.
Exactly.
He was sent 10 miles down the road,
right,
and left off in Edgewood, New Mexico, somewhere in Edgewood, New Mexico, and she was dropped off at maybe a Flying J or a Pilot.
Yes.
So then after she was dropped off, let's because obviously that part is a little hazy as far as if she was dropped off in the precinct or if not. So we'll move on from that. And it's still a very strange situation too, because
yes, and if you read the incident report, it doesn't mention anything about going to the precinct. It just says that Nikki was taken to a flying, I think it said Flying J. I have a copy of it, but I can't remember all of it. And it said that Tyler was taken 2 exits down on the interstate to Edgewood, New Mexico, and dropped off. So now they're 10 miles apart. No money, no car. Nikki has no phone. From there, I don't know. I do know Nikki got access to a phone because she called her friend to come and help her out.
Absolutely. And that's the part I'd love to get to, but real quick, a Flying J is not a motel. A Flying J, from my understanding, is just a gas station with some Taco Bells and some Pizza Huts.
I think
crying
it's
out loud.
Truck stop, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So she was dropped off at a Flying J, but not an actual Super 8 motel or anything like that.
That's my understanding.
Wow. So without a phone, without her car, so she had a broken phone, her car's been impounded, and she's been left at a Flying J.
Right.
Luckily enough, she either got that phone to work or she was able to get a phone, maybe one of those kind of burner type phones you can buy at the gas station, and she was able
Flying J.
at the Flying J. But she was resourceful. She was definitely resourceful, which is amazing. So she did that at this truck stop. And who did she contact then? Who was the first person she contacted on this new phone?
She contacted her friend Danny in Southern California. Danny and her uncle Steve share a home in Southern California, Orange County area. I'm not sure just where. And she contacted Danny. There'd been a previous relationship between the two of them. And she told him what the situation was. He offered to pay for a hotel for her it was about a mile down the road. He would pay for the hotel if she'd go to the hotel. She didn't want to do that. She slept under a bridge that night waiting to hear from him.
Wait a second. So she slept under a bridge?
Right.
What? Why?
I don't know. I don't know if she was traumatized. I'm sure she was, but I don't know what her thinking was, but she didn't want to go to a motel. She slept under a bridge, and the friend, Danny, drove from Orange County, California to Moriarty, New Mexico overnight to help her. He got there sometime, I don't know when he got there, but he got her car out of impound. He took her to the hospital, to have her wounds treated.
Mhm.
And they were there about 2 hours and were never seen. So she left. They spent the night, and their plan was for her to go back to Southern California in tandem with him to Uncle Steve's house where she'd be safe. Well, then when the morning came and they were to head out to California, Nikki wouldn't go. She said, I can't leave Tyler. I've got to find Tyler. And so Danny, having to get back to work and so forth, left her in Moriarty, and she was looking for Tyler. That's
So-
the last Danny saw her.
Okay. So just so I got this correct, and I'm sorry if I'm repeating you.
That's okay.
I apologize. And I'm just trying to repeat it for the people who are listening as well, so we all get it. So this woman, this young woman, Nikki, who could have had a concussion, could have been suffering from a very bad concussion. I mean, just from the photos itself, my Lord, right?
Mhm.
She contacts Danny.
Right.
Danny says, hey, I will pay for your motel. I will pay for you to stay in somewhere. She refuses that. She stays under a bridge.
Right.
Danny finally drives overnight, I'm sure, to meet up with her. He takes her to the hospital so that she could be seen for the wounds she received
Obvious. Yeah.
for obvious reasons from Tyler. They wait for hours, but nothing happens. They don't go. The hospital, nurses don't tend to her wounds or anything of that sort. So they feel like they exhausted that option and they leave. Now, Nikki decides, I'm not going to go with you, I'm not going to have you follow me to back to California or anything to go see Uncle Steve. I need to go find Tyler, and Danny just lets her go on her way.
Exactly.
To wherever she went in New Mexico. Do I have that correct?
You have that correct. Yes.
Wow. Okay. So is Danny cooperating with police at all?
Absolutely. I don't know if the police have contacted him. I don't know that
Okay.
there's an investigation going on, but he's
Okay.
very cooperative with the family. He's
Okay.
a longtime friend of the family.
Okay. And I'm not trying to say or speculate anything.
Oh, no.
I'm just saying,
No.
given the fact that he is the last person to physically see her
Right.
alive, it sparks up a lot of questions. So she said, I'm not leaving New Mexico basically without Tyler. I'm not leaving without Tyler.
Right.
So she sticks around and she drives off. Now, this is the part that is a little bit strange because I understand she was texting another friend, a few days later, saying something along the lines of, I'm okay, but instead I'm going somewhere different. I'm not going to Southern California anymore. Am I correct with that part of the story?
The following day, she was texting a friend of hers in Northern California, a female friend, longtime friend of the family. And this woman lives up around Shasta, California. And Nikki texted her or talked to her, I'm not sure which, and told her that she was coming up there to visit her. Well, the friend was glad to have her. And she said, you come up here, stay as long as you need to. We'll get you back in good health. But let me track you so that I know when you're going to get here.
Mm-hmm.
So she was tracking Nikki's phone. So she knew where Nikki was. Then suddenly there was no more tracking. So the friend never heard from her. She's never shown up. She's never called or texted. She disappeared. She just
vanished.
disappeared.
Yeah, she just vanished.
Yes.
So there was a kind of like a location app, like she was sharing her location,
Yes.
and then the phone just either died out or the signal just went away.
Right.
And did they see where that signal was last, like pinging from or anything?
No. For some reason, they couldn't trace Nikki's phone. But then on the 8th, the 6th was the last time she was seen. On the 8th of May, a license plate reader picked up her tag number at a Flagstaff,
Mm-hmm.
Arizona Walmart. And that that word got out, and my contacts got to me, back to me and said it has been seen and sent me a picture of it. So I contacted the Flagstaff Police Department. They got back with me. I contacted Walmart's asset management and spoke with Carmen, and they were both going to look at the videos for that time frame to see if they could find Nikki or Tyler or the two of them together. I haven't heard back from them. The holidays, the weekend, the holidays came up and stuff, so I don't know what's transpired from then. But that was at 10:45 a.m. on May the 8th in Flagstaff, Arizona.
10:45 a.m.
Well, yes, Mountain Time.
Okay. 10:45 a.m. Mountain Time on
Right.
May 8th.
Right.
Her car was seen in a Walmart parking lot.
I have a picture. I have a picture of the tag. I have a picture of the vehicle. I know it's her vehicle. I know it's her tag. But from there, nothing.
Wow. Okay. Was there any sign? Okay. Has the cops seen the footage at all? This surveillance footage at all?
I don't know. I haven't heard back from them yet.
That's wild, because I know that is a piece of information that came out about a week ago. So I feel like they would have already gone through all the surveillance video, right?
But I can't find anywhere that there is an entity, a law enforcement entity, that is investigating. They're accepting information from another law enforcement. They're sharing that information if they get anything from the other law enforcement. But I can't find anywhere that there is an investigator saying, okay, this is the last thing we know. This is the last person that saw her. This is the last time we knew where she was.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's just vanished. I can't find anything that any of the law enforcement entities are following through on. And I'm not faulting them. I would just like to see that happen.
Yeah, no, and I do understand that piece. I mean, obviously, if you feel like there's no movement coming from law enforcement, it's going to make you spark questions are going to spark up.
Yeah.
Like why are they supposedly dragging their feet on the breadcrumbs that might be left behind. And of course, if they don't act on it fast enough, these things can get deleted, they can wash away, fly away, etc. There's so many different possibilities. So it is very frustrating that this was something that I heard through the Twitter grapevine a week ago when I first was learning about Nikki's story here. And the fact that you still don't know anything still is odd to me. Now,
a week in a missing person's life is a long time.
It is
for the family. It's a very long time.
It most definitely is. Now, can we go back? Let's go back to the fight, if you don't mind. Was there any information told to anyone from law enforcement as far as the interaction between law enforcement and the two of them before they were driven 10 miles apart from each other? Do you have any information about their interaction with the police at that time?
Just that neither one of them would cooperate. Neither one of them would say who was driving. They both were under the influence of something, according to law enforcement.
Okay.
And law enforcement said they didn't know which one was the aggressor, so they let them both go. I'm a night judge in the county that I live in, which means when the courthouse is closed, I hear the cases. In our county, both of them would have been arrested. They both would have been taken to jail. They both would have been held for a minimum of 12 hours. All the records would have been checked. They would have had a bond issued and so forth. None of that happened. And I don't understand that.
See, that's the part that doesn't make sense to me, because the interaction, and of course they're sitting there going, I'm not driving. He's saying he didn't drive. They're being very vague about the situation. But instead of them saying, all right, we'll just take you down to the precinct, we'll just lock you guys up, they say, no, we'll just drop Nikki off at a Flying J, and we'll just drive him down 10 miles randomly in Edgewood, New Mexico, in the middle of nowhere. What is that solving for both of them, especially when they're traveling from across the country? They don't live in New Mexico, so you're basically leaving them both of them high and dry in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a desert, for crying out loud. So I don't understand the logic behind that, and that's the piece where I go, is there dash cam footage? Were they wearing body cam cameras on them? Is there any of that we can that anyone can obtain to see the interactions that they were having on the side of the road in that moment?
And someone has to ask for that. And I got an incident report. Being that I'm a judicial commissioner and a night judge, I was able to tap into the knowledge of our criminal investigators here in Cheatham County. And they gave me some clues and stuff. Well, they finally did send an incident report, but it doesn't mention anything about being taken to the precinct. It doesn't mention anything about either of them being arrested. It does mention that Tyler had a bloody nose, and that they took him to those 2 locations.
Yeah. It's odd. Now, text messages that were sent through this new phone, were the text messages out of the ordinary, or was it how she would usually text her friends and family?
Well, she texts her sister. She texts her sister every day. Their older sister died in January. So now Nikki was a middle sister, and then there's a younger sister, Tony. Nikki texts Tony almost every day. She texts her on the 7th, or maybe she called her on the 7th. I'm not sure about that, but I do know she texted her on the 8th. And that's when she said she was taking Tyler to a homeless shelter and dropping him off there. And she was heading by herself to the Shasta, California area to visit the female friend that we discussed earlier.
Right, in Northern California.
In Northern California. But the officer in Flagstaff, Officer Shank, checked with every homeless shelter and every hospital in Flagstaff, and he said Stephen Tyler Stratton had never been registered at either one.
Really? Wait, so she sent a text. She sent a text, not a phone call. She sent a text saying that she was going to drop off Tyler at a homeless shelter somewhere in New Mexico?
No, in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Flagstaff, Arizona.
That's where the vehicle was pinged, so to speak.
Right. Or the
license plate.
The license plate reader.
Right.
So
that's where she was when she texted this friend. She said she was in Flagstaff, Arizona. She was headed to Shasta, but she was dropping Tyler at a homeless shelter.
Wow. But that's so odd. Again, what were the text messages? Were those series of text messages normal? Did they look like or seem like the vernacular that she usually texts in? Or because anybody can be behind those text messages.
Exactly.
Anybody can be texting those things. So, and then of course also on top of that, instead of going to Southern California to see Uncle Steve, I'm going up to Shasta, right? Going up to Shasta, Northern California instead. That's quite a directional change, right? That's a huge change in direction. So are we sure that she was the one texting through her phone?
We have no way of knowing.
Right.
We just have to assume that it was Nikki.
Right.
But like I said, we have no way of knowing.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. This is very unfortunate, obviously, because there's so many questions that still have no answers.
There are holes in there that
we can't
fill them in.
Yeah.
But
So,
boy, do I appreciate your exposure.
oh no, no, of course, of course. It's an honor to have the platform to begin with, and of course bringing families on the show to bring awareness is important, extremely important. Um, so as far as like the other holes, are there any other holes that you're still trying to get figured out? Because I know that we have a lot of really great people. My family is a family of geniuses in the chat, and I know a lot of them are already looking, doing their due diligence, and trying to find information about Nikki, anything that they can, so on and so forth. And we're all going to be doing our due diligence, doing a deep dive. But as far as the conversation that we've had so far, are there any holes in the conversation that you are still wanting to have more clarity
Yes.
on?
Thank you for asking that, because we can't understand why Tyler's family has not filed a missing persons report. It's been almost a month. None of us know where either one of them are,
Whoa.
but they have not filed. And so far as we know, and I've checked with Moriarty Police, I've checked with the Cheatham County where we live,
Right.
local authorities and stuff, there has been no missing persons report filed on Tyler. So we're trying to find out, is he in touch with his mother or his, he doesn't have any siblings, but nobody, she won't cooperate with us.
Okay. So aside from him not being filed as a missing person, which is still wild to me. So right now he's found basically, but Nikki is still missing. But the reports out here are saying that they're both missing, but they
Right.
haven't
So
found
first,
anything. That doesn't make any
they're
sense.
both missing according to the family, the Stratton family. He has not been heard from, but there is no missing person report out there for Stephen Tyler Stratton.
Tyler Stratton.
He has warrants out for his
Yes.
arrest. He has warrants out of Davidson County, which is Nashville. He has warrants out of Cheatham County, which is our county. And I understand law enforcement here has put out a notification that he does have extraditable warrants, but nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as you can see right here, here's Stephen Tyler Stratton right
And
here.
he's not always blonde. That's a new phenomenon. His hair is a medium to dark brown.
Yes. And what were his warrants out for?
One of
Do we
them's out
know?
for theft. He has warrants for failure to appear. I'm not sure what the others are. Those are the ones that I am positive of, and I won't
Gotcha.
say if I don't know, I won't say.
Of course, and that's fair. But that is a mugshot, guys, and that is real. And
Yeah.
you see the prison orange, so he was definitely locked up.
Yeah.
And it looks
No
like
stranger to law enforcement.
say that again. I'm sorry.
He's no stranger to law enforcement.
Yeah, he's no stranger. It says this mugshot is from an arrest in 2022 for forgery and other drug-related charges. So yeah, he has a history. He has a history, definitely, of crime, and he definitely has a history of violence, which we already have seen in those photos of
Right.
Nikki, which is extremely devastating and wild. And of course, I know a lot of people are saying this screams the Gabby Petito, Brian Laundrie type of situation where they were split apart as well. And then, of course, something devastating happened afterwards with Gabby. But we're hoping that this won't be the case for
We're
this young
hoping. We
woman.
don't want her to be another Gabby Pepito, but we also want law enforcement to understand that when these situations arise, they're serious, they're life-threatening. I don't care if they don't want to press charges or not. They need to be taken seriously because the end is so often so devastating.
Absolutely. And of course, we don't want that part
Oh,
ever.
no.
Ever.
We're hopeful that Nikki's going to come home.
Of course. We're all praying for that. But I do have a question for you, because this is the part that don't make sense to me at all either. The math is not math. And let's go all the way back to the fight again. Cops pull up. They're both saying like playing quiet. Okay, they're not saying not a doggone thing. They're sitting there going, I didn't drive. Did you drive? No, I didn't drive. So cops decide, all right, we're just going to drive him 10 miles that way. We're going to take her to a Flying J with her broken phone, and we're going to impound the car. Now, one thing that doesn't make any sense to me is if he has priors and if he has warrants out for his arrest that are extraditable, right?
Mhm.
Why wasn't he arrested then? If he has
We
warrants
wondered the
out,
same thing.
and if they went clickety clack into their little, cop car computers, why was he just dropped off 10 miles down the road? He should have been incarcerated. He should have been detained right then and there, especially if he had an arrest that, and if he was answering for these warrants were for these forgeries and these drug-related charges in 2022 that he didn't answer to. I mean, I don't get it. Why wouldn't he be arrested right then and there? Forget about it.
I asked them about that them being the Moriarty Police Department, and they said nothing came up. When they entered his information, nothing came up so far as any infractions on his record.
But what? I mean, I thought it was like a database that, that you just type it in and bang, there you go.
I can go into my office with our county law enforcement, type in his information, and a whole sheet comes up of infractions, arrests, failures to appear, drug sales, forgery, you name it, he's done it. And it's all right there in the record. I don't know why they didn't pick it up. I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense. Mm-mm. So then that story is not mathing for me. It's not equating properly for me. At least for me. You're saying cops pull up, they're fighting. It is vicious. We all saw the photos. I showed it to you, the whole family twice. I'm not going to torture you guys and showing you guys that again. It's unforgettable images. Yeah. All right. You got him hurt. You got him with a bloody nose. Yes, she was clearly hurt. Mm-hmm. They're both under the influence, allegedly. Mm-hmm. They're both playing hard to get when it comes to the information that the police are trying to get from them. But they impound the car. They didn't do any of their due diligence by checking out if this person was a violent criminal, or if both of them, at least, just to be fair, when meeting them at face value, just to see what their story was about. They didn't even do that. They just decided to impound the car and leave them on sides of the road far apart. That is the part that doesn't make any sense to me. But you still have Danny still showing up, showing proof positive that the car was actually impounded.
Yes.
And that he actually saw her the very next day in disarray.
Right.
But that is the part that I don't get it. I don't get it. There's something there something's not right. There's something in the equation that's not adding up. And in my mind, I'm going, okay, so these cops were just that laid back and cool?
Maybe they're cooler in New Mexico than we are in Tennessee.
My Lord. I mean, in this case, I would hope they weren't so laid back. Yeah. This individual right here is a very violent individual. We already saw the footage. We saw the photos. This man right here is a very violent individual. And of course, it doesn't make sense that it still breaks my heart that she was willing to sleep under an overpass than to stay in a motel. And I keep thinking that maybe she just didn't want to be seen because the bruises on her face were that bad. She didn't want to be seen in front of people. And maybe she blamed herself for those bruises as well. I mean, it's very frustrating to think that these two here were found on the side of the road fighting this way, and then they were separated, but not separated in the proper way.
Exactly.
It's frustrating. The other thing is somebody just asked to Traveling Teresa, and that's a good question. Any word about the dog? Because they were on a trip with the dog.
Nothing has been said about the dog. We have pictures of the dog and the Jeep. We have pictures of them traveling. The
Mm-hmm.
dog was there, had on a kerchief, but nothing has been reported about the dog. I don't know what the story is on that. My understanding, they were dog sitting for someone. So they took the dog with them on their trip.
Wow.
Well, no one seems to know where the dog is now,
Mm.
which is unfortunate. People love their dogs.
Of course. Yeah, I got dogs, and
Yeah.
they drive me crazy every day, but I love them. I love
It's
them to
my
death.
kids. They drive
Yeah.
me crazy, but you love them.
Absolutely, absolutely. But the fact that they haven't even found the dog, and this is another question we should ask: is the dog chipped?
I don't have a clue, but I hadn't even thought of that.
Something to think about. You never
Good
know.
idea. We need to contact the owners of the dog and find out.
Yes. Yeah. Exercise every possibility. I mean,
Absolutely.
it could be the smallest thing. And you know how we talked about this earlier. Technology is one amazing thing. It could be the tiniest thing. And it's like, oh, we're able to find Nikki because of a dog chip, right?
Wouldn't that be
Anything is
something?
possible.
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Wouldn't that be wonderful? I mean, this is why we're exercising and asking every question under the sun right now, so that hopefully maybe you guys out here that are watching this show right now will let that beautiful brains of yours start turning, and maybe you'll find something. You'll find some angle in this situation, because there's a lot of holes that we're still trying to figure out. And this is the reason why we have Patsy here to talk about all of this. How is the family doing right now? What's going on with them?
The family is so distraught. This is their second daughter to lose this year.
Mm-hmm.
They apologize, but they can't talk to the media. They're just too distraught. The mother is trying to hold it together. She's a nurse. She's continuing to work. She has family to help support. She has Nikki's children. So they're just doing the best they can.
Yeah.
Like any of us would be. They're just devastated.
Yeah, I can only imagine right now. There's so much. Oh, I mean, there's so many questions so many unanswered questions right now. That I just wish we all had the answers for right now, to be really honest. I know a lot of you guys are asking about what the dog looks like, and what is the name of the dog? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. I don't know. And
it's a cute dog.
It's a cute little dog. It's
Yeah.
got a little kerchief and so forth. But I don't know his name. I don't know who he belongs to. I don't know anything at all about the dog, except that he has disappeared also. She has disappeared also.
Yeah. So we don't know where the dog is either. Oh, man. And there's so many questions here that haven't been answered, guys.
And if the dog were found and he's chipped,
yeah,
that would tell us they were there.
Yeah.
Wherever the dog is found. I mean, I would think so.
Right. I'm really hopeful. I'm really hopeful about this.
I think with it being out there, and with people like you who have taken an interest in this and want to help us find Nikki, I think that's how we're going to find her. And all of your listeners, if they'll just keep their eyes open, anything they hear or see, we would appreciate information on it. We'll do whatever we need to do to find Nikki.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Patsy, I know you have a lot going on. I know you got a big day tomorrow as well. So I wanted to say thank you so much for being here and sharing the story. Send my regards and my wishes to the family, of course, as well.
Thank you.
I do appreciate you coming out and just being, the speaker for the family right now. I'm sure they're exhausted from just the amount of times that they've talked about this, and of course, this is very draining. It could be very, very draining. So I appreciate you coming on and talking with me about this.
Well, I appreciate your coverage of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Talk to you soon. You too. Good night.
Bye.
Guys, this is the part where I go to you as always and say, hey, I need your help. And you go, what kind of help do you need, Pascal? Well, I need the help right now to spread the word about Nikki. Okay. Again, just so that you guys understand what has happened here or what's going on here. This young woman, all right, 33-year-old Nikki Alcaraz, or Nikki Cunningham, was last seen May 6th in Moriarty, New Mexico, with her boyfriend. His legal name is Stephen Tyler Stratton. He goes by Tyler, okay? She was last seen in a black Jeep Wrangler with Tennessee plates and a Mama Tried bumper sticker, all right? Due to the history of DV, we believe she's in danger. A lot of people believe that she's in danger, okay? She may be located in New Mexico, Arizona, and even California. And what's unfortunate about this is that she could be in Northern California, or she could be in Southern California. And that's the sad part about this situation. Again, you got a young woman, mother of two beautiful kids, one 12, one 3 years old, boy and girl, that went to go see her uncle on a cross-country trip that she does all the time. But she was on a trip with her very violent boyfriend, got taken by police, got dropped off, car got impounded, he got dropped off 10 miles away, got the car back, and then she disappeared. She just vanished. Now, did she vanish with Tyler, or did she vanish by herself? We don't know. And this is the reason why I'm asking you guys to please share this show, share this feed, share her name, okay? Again, her name is Nikki Alcaraz. Please share if you can. That would be greatly appreciated. And another thing too, guys, I do have to say this because I do feel moved to bring this up and talk about this as well. And I think it's important for everyone to know. Those of you that are surviving through violent relationships right now, there's always the front door. There's always a way out. And there's always someone you can call. So I wanted to remind you guys, please, you can call the DV hotline at 1-800-799-7233. Again, 1-800-799-7233. Again, I just want to remind every single last one of y'all that are surviving right now or have survived that you are not alone. Okay, guys? So please share this if you can. Spread the word. And let's get this young woman home. Anyway, guys, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really does mean a lot. Real talk. It means so much because you guys could be watching anything under the sun, but you decide to watch this show with me, and it really does mean a lot. So please share this show, share this interview, share this conversation. That would really mean the world. Okay? I would really, really appreciate it, okay? So, where is Nikki? Start sharing, start spreading the word. Let's bring her home, okay? So anyway, it is time to get going. I appreciate you guys. Do me a favor, hit that like button down below, crush it. Send it past 400 likes before you head out. That would really mean a lot, okay? A like doesn't cost a thing. And in this case, it helps get this word and this story out there to other people so that people know what's going down. So please share, share, share. And if you haven't done it yet, I don't know what to tell you, okay? We talk about a lot of things on the show, all right? But I'm also trying to bring some more awareness to the voiceless out here, bringing a voice to the voiceless as much as I can. So please subscribe to the channel. Oh, and one more thing. Oh, my Lord, I forgot. Let me tell you guys this too. So breaking information. I'm killing the music really quick. I do have another breaking story to give you guys tomorrow morning. I will be sitting down, or I will be doing an exclusive interview with Shalia Bradley. If you don't know who that is, There is a story that is about 21 years old that now has a break in its case, a missing persons case about the Bradley girls. And I don't know if you remember, I don't know if you know about this, about Diamond Bradley and Tianda Bradley, the two girls that went missing in Chicago about 21 years ago. Well, there was a break. There was a recent break in that story. There's a huge TikTok video that's gone viral right now of a young girl claiming to be Diamond Bradley. So I'm breaking down the story tomorrow and interviewing the main person that has been searching nonstop for her great nieces is the great aunt, Shalia. She'll be on the show live tomorrow morning to bring more awareness about what happened to the Bradley girls and if this break in the story is real or not. So the exclusive interview is going to be live tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. or actually she comes on a little bit later, but in the hour of 11, I will be breaking down the story, giving you guys all the information that you need before she hops onto the show to talk about the new updates. And if she believes that this young woman is really whom she claims to be. So that is going on tomorrow. It's going to be a huge exclusive show, so be sure to tune in 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be a crazy, crazy, crazy story, crazy case that could start moving towards getting solved here. It's pretty wild. And I'm sure the interview that we're going to have tomorrow is even wilder. So be sure to tune in. Exclusive, exclusive, exclusive. So one more time, hit that like button down below, crush it, make it scream out your name, and then do not forget to hit that subscribe button, baby. Okay? You know, I'm working hard out here in these streets. I'm putting in notes. I'm writing stories for crying out loud and bringing you guys the best I can. Okay? So please be there. Don't be square. Show up and dance like Fred Astaire. There you go. I'm here all day, guys. See, I'm here all day. But anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all. I will be seeing you guys tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time for this exclusive breakdown about the Bradley girls. You don't want to miss it. Anyway, it's time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And do something nice by sharing this feed, sharing this story. Let's bring some awareness for Nikki Alcaraz right now. All right? And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. for the exclusive interview about the Bradley girls. Pretty crazy stuff. Anyway, guys, I'll see you guys soon. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.